changing the energy field to that resonance of love wherever you go. Insignificant, ordinary. There's not an ordinary man, woman, blade of grass, breath of air, insect, anything, anywhere in creation. But there are billions on this planet who think they are, so they live ordinary lives, just because they think they're ordinary. They are the extraordinary. They are genius waiting to happen. It's just a choice. It's just a thought. Another thing that's been established by this open-minded scientific research is that fear, because everything's about wavelengths and resonating energy to various frequencies, fear is a long, slow wavelength. And as the wavelength of fear passes through the DNA, it does not activate these various antennae which connect us to the bigger world, the bigger cosmic mind. But the wavelength of love is very quick, a very short wavelength, and therefore as it passes through us, it's activating these antennae all the time and connecting us to the outer world. Now this is interesting from many points of view, not least this. Everything relates to everything else the more you talk. The reason, or one key reason, why the imposition of fear and the manipulation of fear has been imposed upon the human race all these thousands of years since this control began, is because it comes from a level of knowledge that understands how these things work. It understands, therefore, that if we can be manipulated into a state of fear, we are disconnecting ourselves from the infinite mind, who we really are, and the eggshells start to form. When we open ourselves to love and this heart vortex opens, we start to reconnect with all that exists and all we really are. So the pressure has been to keep us in fear and to keep us in conflict, i.e. fear. And also it's been understood that because we create our own reality by our state of being, our imagination of ourselves, it's been understood that if through outside influences, manipulations, propaganda, etc., our imagination of ourselves can be manipulated to be ordinary man and woman in the street, I've got no power, then through this process, our imagination of self, I am ordinary and powerless, will create a physical experience of being ordinary and powerless. So therefore, billions of people on this planet are being manipulated through this process of indoctrination to create a lifetime of ordinary, powerless existence, when if this changes, it's all gone. This is where astrological energies come in. Oh, it's astrology. It's the devil. Why has religion been used so much to convince people that astrology is the devil? Oh my goodness me. Because we're not supposed to realize the power of astrology. If you look at an astrological reading in a tabloid newspaper, we're not interested. But when you look at it as a science, it's very simple. The planets are constantly moving. They're constantly, therefore, in the various combinations they make in their orbits, they're affecting and changing the energy field of the Earth. We live in that energy field. When the Earth's energy field changes, we are affected. Therefore, planetary sequences affect the Earth's energy field, and we're affected. Astrology. So when we're born at a certain time in a certain place, when we're born, some people say conception, I wouldn't dismiss that. When we're born, however, we take on the energy field in that place at that time. And as we go through our lives, that energy field we took on at birth, because of the place and the time we were born, and the places of the planets were at that time, then that interacts with the planetary movements through our lives in a different way to someone born 10 minutes or 10 months later or 10 years later at a different time, because they will have taken on a different energy field because the planets were in a different place. Therefore, the planetary energy field of the Earth would have been different at the time they were born. And so we interacted in different ways through our lives. This is why they've shown so often, again and again and again, that twins that are separated at birth, when they find each other in adult life, the lives they've led and the things that they've done have been incredibly similar, because they took on basically the same energy field at birth. But particularly the Roman Catholic Church, has been used to get us to think that either on that level of the Roman Catholic Church it's the devil, or science, the other wing of this manipulation of spirituality, says that actually the whole thing's a load of nonsense and there's no scientific basis. Well, insult my intelligence a bit more. Why is it, if it's a nonsense, does this brotherhood have key times, key places to have its summits, its economic collapses, its meetings, to set up its companies? Why have I met so many astrologers around the world who are on retainers from transnational corporations to tell them when the best time is to launch a new product, to do a takeover or whatever? Because they understand that astrology is reality, because it's the manipulation of energy. They just don't want us to know it. And of course, Christianity and other religions have been used to destroy the credibility of astrology and these other esoteric concepts, which has created a position of enormous irony. So many in the Christian Patriot movement in America have sussed and realized that the basic manipulation is going on and the nature of the scam. But they have been persuaded that the way to bring an end to the scam is the devil incarnate and the Antichrist. So they've identified the prison, but they won't go through the door to get out of it. So we are beings that come into physical incarnation, and we are trying to balance these various pressures and energies and manifest a balanced whole. So incredible challenge in this dense physical world, and we need to be kind to ourselves that this is happening, because so often the challenges that we get are really, really extreme, especially now as this change unfolds. We need to be kind to ourselves, because this is not an easy place to live and to evolve because of the pressures we're being asked to balance. But the evolutionary spiral is so simple. Someone said to me once, that evolution is like going round a mountain. You keep facing the same view, but you see it completely differently, from a completely different angle. So down here in the evolutionary spiral, you'll have an experience, and you'll say, it was his fault, it's your fault that I'm in trouble, and how dare you. And then as you evolve, you face exactly the same experience, but then you say, why have I created this? What does it say about me? What is there to learn? Okay, got it, evolve. Same experience, different perception, higher level of evolution. Now, we are at the point, I've mentioned a number of times in these last few hours, where we're at the end of a 26,000-year cycle. As I travel the world, it's obvious that there's an awakening going on, and again, the science is starting to identify it. Some years ago, a different pulse, a different resonance was identified in the center of the spiral of the galaxy. More recently, probes that have gone to investigate what's going on the sun have identified that tremendous changes are going on in the sun. Its magnetic field is falling, and there's incredible solar flare activity that's starting to emerge, which will be very powerful in the years ahead and fundamentally affect us. So you've had the different resonance coming out of the center of the galaxy and affecting the sun. The sun is changing. When the sun changes, we change. 99% of the mass of the solar system. It's now very demonstrably been identified as being passed on to the Earth. Tremendous changes are happening in the Earth's field. Magnetics are falling. Many phenomena are unfolding as a result of this changing frequency that's come out of the galaxy. And open-minded research has also identified how the Earth connects into the human form. The resonant frequency of the Earth comes in at the heart chakra point, the love point. And from there it goes to the brain, and the brain transmits it to every cell in the body. So when you follow this sequence, this is why people are waking up at this time in increasingly vast numbers. The frequency changes the center of the galaxy. It comes to the sun, the center of this solar system. Brings about change there. From there it goes out to the planets of the solar system, to the Earth. The Earth manifests its changes. We live in the Earth's field. It affects humanity. And now this rising frequency, this changing energy field, is starting to dramatically change life on Earth, and we've seen nothing yet. If we shut down the heart, or if we get into the intellect, which follows the kind of intellectual programming instead of following the intuition of the heart, then we can switch off this connection with the cosmos, this connection through this sequence out into infinity, when the head shuts down and shuts down the heart. And that has been the process of the education system and other institutions. It's been to get people to close their heart down and get stuck, imprisoned in the head. Therefore, we switch off the cosmos and live in the eggshell. We keep coming back to the same thing. People like Greg Braden and others have started to focus on this particular image. Back in 1899, something was identified called Schumann cavity resonance. What it was the heartbeat, the frequency beat of the Earth. From the time of its discovery, 1899, to 1986, this heartbeat frequency was a constant 7 cycles, 7.8 hertz a second. Constant. Boom, 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 boom. From 1986 onwards, it started to rise dramatically. Just when people started to wake up in increasing numbers.